Hello and welcome to another episode of Cards Unbarred. My name's Ryan, and in this video, I'm going to show you the 2 to 4 player trick-taking game, the Kakapo Buddy and Party, designed by Hiromi Oba, Ryoji Suzuki, and Kei Tezuka. The components in the Kakapo consists of 40 number cards, ranked 1 to 8 in 5 suits, purple, green, red, blue, and orange, and 40 polyomino pieces that match the 5 suits, also numbered 1 through 8 in purple, green, red, blue, and orange, 4 pieces for the main game board, 5 skill tokens, 1 decision pile card, 8 player aid cards that are double-sided, and lastly, the 25 polyomino bird pieces. In the Kakapo, players are cooperatively playing tricks and laying down polyominoes in order to complete their given mission. Every mission has a different requirement, but the goal is still the same: to surround a specific number of birds on the map using the polyomino pieces. If players can do this successfully, they will complete that mission. If players cannot legally place a polyomino, or they have run out of tricks, then they will lose that mission instead. The game comes with 20 missions, which can be played in any order, and players are welcome to play any number of missions in a single game night. To set up for a game of the Kakapo, first distribute the player aid cards. Then place the main game board in the center of the table. Next, place all polyomino pieces around the board and within easy reach of all players. After that, place the decision pile card and the skill tokens next to the board. In the buddy version of the game, which is for 2 players, you will use all 5 skill tokens. However, in the party version, which is for 3 to 4 players, you only use 3 skill tokens. In this section of the video, I will be explaining the party rules for 3 to 4 players, and I will be explaining the buddy rules at the end of the video. So for now, we'll return 2 of those skill tokens back to the box. Next, prepare the playing card deck. If you are playing a 3-player game, look for the purple one and return it to the box. You will only be using 39 cards when playing in a mission. From those 39 cards, deal 13 cards to each player. However, if you're playing a 4-player game, you will be using all 40 cards. For the rest of the party rules teach, we will be setting up for a 4-player game, so I will be using all 40 cards. And from those 40 cards, deal 10 cards to each player. Now, as you can see, the components and everything are taking up a lot of space on the table. So for the purposes of this video, I'm going to remove all of those components off to the side and bring things on camera when necessary. One thing to pay attention to is whenever you're picking your missions, all of the missions that start with a B are for Buddy, which is the 2-player game, and all missions that start with a P are for Party. So for this section of the video, we're going to be setting up for mission P1, which is the first mission for Party. You will notice as well that it is all in Japanese. However, the only thing you really have to pay attention to is the diagram of where the bird goes, as well as which bird you'll be using. It does give you an LV and a number. So when looking for the bird, you can check for that information. Of course, you can also just look at the picture of it and confirm that as well. So for the first mission, this bird needs to go in the middle so it matches just like that. Now that we're all set up, we're ready to begin the trick play. The start player for the first trick of the round is whoever was dealt the purple 8. So each player shall check their hand and look to see if they have that card. In this case, our player down here has the purple 8. You can announce it, show it to everybody, whatever you want. Just make sure people know that you have the purple 8. You will be the lead player to start off the trick. However, you do not have to play the purple 8. You can play any card you want. Now, the thing is, you want to pay attention to your mission and see what your objective is. In this case, we have 1 bird that needs to be completely surrounded, and there is a section that requires purple. So starting the first trick with purple might not be a bad idea. So let's say this player starts off by playing this purple 6. The Kakapo is a must-follow trick taker, so whatever the person leads with, that suit is what everyone else must follow. So if we come to this player's hand, if they have any purple cards in their hand, they must play them, which in this case they have a 4 and 5. So they will decide to play that 5. Coming to the next player, looking at their hand, they've got 3 purple, and that's their only purple, so they must play that one. And last player over here, we are looking at a 1 and a 7 purple. Now, if they play the 1, the 6 is going to win the trick, but if they play the 7 is going to win, and they think they want to win this trick, so they're going to play that 7. After everyone has played a card into the trick, we need to see which card is known as the decision card. The decision card is just the winning card in the trick, so this purple 7 is going to be the decision card. That's what the rules call it. I probably will just refer to it as the winning card. But either way, this card is winning because they are the highest number of lead suit. This game does have trump as well, and that is based on whatever top card is showing on the decision card pile. It always starts as purple, so in this case we played purple anyways, but eventually that color can change. I will explain that shortly how that happens. But at this moment, the player who has the decision card or the winning card must place a polyomino piece that matches their card. So this 7 purple, they would look for the 7 polyomino piece and place it anywhere on the board. Now, the player aid card will explain all legal and non-legal placements, which is very handy, but I will be explaining that right now as well, so I'll leave that off to the side. So the first rule when placing your polyomino piece is that you can place it upside down, right side up. Any rotation you can flip. As you can see, this piece isn't really that crazy, but for example, something like this red 5, you would be able to place it like that or this way, any orientation you see fit. But let's just pull the purple 7 back out since that's what we're placing. The next thing you can do as far as legal placement is place it anywhere you want with inside this black border. You'll see the main squares inside. As long as your piece is within there, you can place it anywhere you want. It doesn't have to be touching anything else. You can put it all the way in the corner if you feel like. And the last legal placement is you can place a polyomino piece against another color that doesn't actually match its piece. This is technically legal or anything like that. However, this will cause you to fail the mission because only purple is allowed to be there, but technically it is a legal placement. So let's just take a step back. Let's go back to this purple 7. They must place it. Now they could decide to do something like that to get it in the purple, or maybe they'll do something along those lines, whatever they want. As far as communication in this game goes, no other players can communicate with this player where they should place that. There's really no communication at all in this game. You can't tell people what cards to play, what to lead, if they should win or lose. It is play your cards out, winner decides where the piece goes, and it's up to them. So maybe this player decides they want to do that even though everyone else at the table thought otherwise. So the piece does go there and that's it. Now before the trick clears, because all 4 cards played in the trick are of the same suit, this player could trigger one of their skill tokens. And that is reminded on your player aid card about using skills. This is known as the double scan skill. This only triggers when all cards in the trick are of the same color, which they are in this case. When that happens, this player is allowed to flip one of these tokens over, again, no communication with the other players to do this or not, and take the lowest number in the trick and place that piece on the board as well. So they'd actually get access to the 7 and the 3. So with that in mind, maybe they would put the 3 there and put the 7 up here. Now this is going to get into my last bits of placement as far as what's not legal. The first thing that's not legal is placing beyond the grid. So like I said, there's this big black grid. If you ever place outside of that, you can't do that. That's not legal. The other thing you can't do is have overlapping pieces. That includes polyominoes and birds. Everything has to be flat on the table to be legally placed. And the last rule, and the most important one, is pieces of the same color cannot be adjacent to each other. So something like this is not allowed because those 2 pieces are orthogonally adjacent. Diagonal is okay. In this case, they're not actually adjacent to each other, so you could make that placement. And that rule applies when you're surrounding the bird as well. In this case, we don't have to put anything here. This is considered to be surrounded. So if we had something like so, this would completely surround the bird, and we would have successfully completed this mission. So I will quickly throw up the player aid just so you can see a summary of what you can legally and not legally do for placement. And let's just say this player decides to spend their token and puts the 7 and the 3 there. Now, the winning card of the trick will go on top of the decision card pile. This now determines what trump is for the next trick, and the other 3 cards will just be discarded. Nobody has to collect them. You're not keeping track of who wins tricks, so these should just be off to the side for the next round. But this will now be the new trump suit. In this case, it's still purple, but let's just say on the next trick, this player decides to play this blue 6, and we go around the table, they play a blue 7, they come over here with their blue 2, and lastly, they do a blue 4. So the blue 7 is going to win the trick and become the new decision card. After pieces are placed, this card will go on top, and now blue is trump. So trump is theoretically changing every trick, but you're of course losing a lot of those cards of that trump suit as the tricks get resolved. And then we put the 7 out there, maybe something like that. And so either way, trick play is going to continue like this with everyone playing a card into the trick until you either successfully complete the mission by surrounding the bird, or you fail the mission by not being able to legally place a polyomino piece on the board, or you run out of tricks. So as we saw, each player is dealt 10 cards in a 4-player game. So at a max, you'll have 10 tricks to complete a mission. An important note, in the 3-player game, you're dealt 13 cards each, but you still only play 10 tricks. The 3-player rules to the game are otherwise the same as the 4-player game. The buddy plays a little bit differently, but I'll be explaining that shortly. As soon as you complete a mission, whether it's pass or fail, you will then clear off all of the polyomino pieces as well as the bird, refer to the book for the next mission you want to complete. Again, you're welcome to go in order or jump around any way you see fit, but that'll be a whole new round. So you'll shuffle the deck, re-deal out the cards, and start the mission completely over doing whatever the requirement is for that new mission. The rules to the buddy version of the game, which is for 2 players, is relatively the same as a 4-player game, with a couple of differences which I'll explain here. The first one is instead of only having 3 skill tokens, you get 5 now. So the extra 2 you left in the box, place them next to the game board now. Additionally, when dealing out the playing cards, before dealing to any players, shuffle the deck and remove 8 cards off to the side. Make sure to keep them face down so both players do not see those cards. From the remaining 32 cards, deal 16 cards to each player. Whoever has dealt the purple 8 will be the start player for the first trick of the round. Now, it is possible that the purple 8 is one of the face down cards off to the side. If that's the case, randomly choose a start player. You'll choose your mission for buddy just like you did party, but make sure you choose the B missions instead of the P. You'll also see the B and P mission for number 1 are exactly the same. So in this case, it'd be the purple bird placed right there. As I mentioned, the trick play is very similar to a 4-player game, but the biggest difference being there's only 2 players playing into the trick. So each player will play 2 cards into a single trick. Now the purple 8 is dealt over here, so we've randomly chosen this player to go first. They will look at their hand and decide to still play a purple card, so they'll lead with a purple 3. Then it comes to their partner to play a card and must follow with purple, so they'll play that 4. And then it comes back to the start player to play a second card into the trick. So they'll play this purple 5, and then finally the last player goes again and plays that purple 6. So now there are 4 cards in the trick, and the trick resolves just like it does in the party version. You look to see the highest card of lead suit or trump if it's a different color, and you must place that polyomino piece on the board. You can also trigger your skill tokens, since all 4 cards are the same color, to be able to place the 6 and the 3. However, in the buddy version, you have access to 2 additional skills, and those are shown on the back side of the player aid card. You can see there's an icon to show that they're only for buddy, whereas this one is buddy and party. So I'll explain these 2 skills now. The first one is wild color. It lets you change the color of the piece you are going to place to a different color. So even though the 6 purple won the trick, this player could decide that this is now a 6 blue. And they would take the 6 blue polyomino piece and place that instead, flipping their token over. You can only ever do 1 skill per trick. So they couldn't trigger that to make it a 6 blue and then also do the original one and place this 3 purple. Now the last one they would have is shift change. That allows you to increase or decrease the value of the winning card by 1. So this 6 could become a 7 purple or a 5 purple. You can't change its color because again, that's a separate skill. So you're simply just increasing or decreasing its value. A side note to that, an 8 can never be increased up by value and a 1 can never be decreased in value. Otherwise, the game is going to play out the same, except you only have 8 tricks instead of 10 because you have 16 cards in total playing 2 cards a trick. If you surround the bird, you complete the mission, or if you cannot legally place a tile or run out of cards, you will fail the mission. Otherwise, that's everything you need to know to play the Kakapo Buddy and Party. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below and I'll get to them as soon as I can. Thanks so much for watching.